Hello, hello, hello. We're on time, you guys.
Holy shit.
We're on time. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion. That is starting on time. We are covered by the BIPCOT no government license, which allows for the use and the reuse of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is bipcot.org. We're also covered by Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969, which ruled that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is, quote, directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action. Therefore, everything said here on Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion is entirely hypothetical. This is episode 199. And, yeah, I didn't have anything to go after that.
It's amazing that we haven't been kicked off of YouTube after 199 episodes.
The only 199 reference that I can make is Travis Pastrana, who's probably like the FMX GOAT. But we're not going to do triple backflips on an airbag in our backyard. So,
Nope. Although there's around here, there's that years ago, there's this car dealership called 199 Rides, and Chris, I'm sure you remember their commercials.
Oh God, I hope that guy died of a heart attack.
Their commercials were literally so obnoxious that it caused them to go out of business.
Nice. Capitalism.
Because not only was the commercial just this guy screaming the name of the business and then trying to do a very sad impression of a Ric Flair woo.
Uh-huh.
And that was basically the entire commercial. But on top of that, he would play it every 10 and a half minutes on every single radio station in the area. Shaller knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And people just stopped going.
So it was so annoying that people literally were willing to shop any other place for a used car but that place. And it drove him under.
Market reaction, bro. It happened. It'll slap your donkey. What? Hey, don't flirt with my co-host, bro.
Ouch.
Is slapping somebody's donkey like a flirt? I don't know what that means, but it.
You're in the military.
Okay.
I'm sure it means something.
I mean, it sounds like a fucking Urban Dictionary reference of some kind.
I have a.
Well, if it was military related, it would happen.
Find out.
There was that video that was going around of that guy in Alabama firing that bottle rocket out of that tube into a bonfire that had been soaked in kerosene so that it would explode and start burning, and somebody called it an Alabama bottle rocket, and I laughed and I was like, that is 100% an Urban Dictionary entry. Don't even joke. That has to be on Urban Dictionary. I don't know what it is. I don't want to know what it is because I'm sure it's horrible.
Most things on Urban Dictionary are.
I mean, that's true.
A donkey slapper, according to Urban Dictionary, is a slutty girl with a fat ass.
I mean, I'm all about that shit.
There's another slap.
There's
Another slap the donkey definition that I won't read on the air. You can look that one up. So
I'm not going. I really don't want.
I really don't know. Just like I'm sure that if you looked up Alabama bottle rocket, I'm sure we don't want to know what that is either.
The Alabama slammer. Stop.
Oh boy.
Stop. Shaw says wait until after 10 minutes. No, that's that. We would have to Patreon that one because it would not be.
If we had
they would still catch us.
Instant ban from YouTube.
We'll OnlyFans it. Put it on Pornhub.
I keep threatening to set up an OnlyFans. It's just me ranting about history. So
now I want a patch that says "Find me on Pornhub."
I think there is at least one from back when.
There's a certified or Pornhub certified armorer patch.
Nice.
That I've wanted for a long time, and it's out.
It's always sold out.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes it'll pop up on that one website that I bought $300 worth of patches on all at once. It'll pop up on that one, but
Only one? You've only done that on one website?
Oh, I got another one.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it's the Stick This On from Stick This On.
Yeah.
My also on Stick This On that,
I think it's
hat that I have that has the two panels.
Sad Hillbilly Peppy or something like that. It's called.
Yep. They also have the Happy Pepe, and then they have one other one that they just launched too. But they also have the super gigantic gun patches. They're like this big.
Yes, the full size.
Yes.
They got the big
awesome.
crisp vector patch, and it's like $45 or something. Yeah.
Or no, it's not an MP5. It's an HK. Is it a 416? It might be a 416.
I don't know. HK slap.
I love that one, that MP5 with the Slap Me Harder Daddy engraved right up above the the charging handle.
Print, shoot, repeat.
Yep.
he's a character.
I freaking want one so bad. Not just because it's an MP5, but specifically engraved with that because yes.
Yes, I agree completely. Let's see. Oh, Scott's in the chat. He's in our Scott. That's the new guy in our Telegram group chat.
Oh, okay.
The AnFam chap, Scott. He was we were friends on Facebook before Facebook deleted my account. And Brandon's in the chat. He's also in that group chat, I believe. But I think he's a NorCal cat.
Well, Scott, if this is your first time tuning in,
It's not.
Oh, it's not.
It's
okay.
not. No.
Scott's been around quite a bit.
Yeah.
Either way,
you know what I mean.
So the new guy is the old guy. Yeah, you're old.
Aren't we all?
No.
I mean, dude,
I'm like 27.
How many times over?
A lot.
I was at a whiskey club the other night, and I pointed out because we made one of the whiskeys that we had there was the one from what's his face? God, from Dazed and Confused, Matthew McConaughey, the one from Matthew McConaughey, and we kept doing the all right, and I went, hey, you guys, are you aware that we are in fact farther away from the release date of that film than that film was from the events it was talking about? And absolutely everyone just glares at me because they're all older than I am, and it made me giggle very hard.
Everybody gets up and tells Andrew, all right, get the fuck out.
Get out. Actually, correction, not everybody was older than me, but everybody who was there at the time. A couple other guys showed up who are, in fact, younger than I am, but it's weird to go to like a whiskey club and realize that you're one of the experts at the whiskey club. Like you're one of the few who actually understands a lot of that stuff. Very strange. Apparently I'm the only one who knows how to make a Collins too, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
Where the hell is a whiskey club around here?
It's by invitation only. It's in Alaska. At a dude's house. The guy who owns LTC.
All right.
We have those too, but it's just 3 guys sitting around a dumpster fire.
Oh, this is like 15. Like there's, and I'm the only one who doesn't either own a business or like several businesses. That's there.
You're the lone guy now, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, most of them are real estate or like general contractors or builders or things like that. So it's all kind of the real estate industry around here, which is why I go.
Is that one of those connections you made at your business after 5 things?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let's get into it. We got 7 articles. So I got 6, and then there's a 6 plus a little bit one, and then there's a hidden one which we cannot talk about first, unless you guys really want to.
Is it going to piss us off out of the gate?
No, it is fucking hilarious, but it also is kind of a black bill.
Well, let's get serious for a little bit, and then we'll come back to laughing our asses off.
Oh shit, it's
Let's
serious.
Get serious.
Let's see. We got
serious.
we got private property violation, a private property violation, Skynet/Matrix, Skynet/Matrix, Skynet/Matrix,
I feel like
And
we should just talk
then-
about the Skynet / Matrix.
Yeah, and
Oh,
piggyback all three of them together.
let's all right. Let's start it off with a bang. Let's start just.
That's what she said.
She was disappointed.
That was her own fault. She's the one who said it.
The Synthetic Party in Denmark is dedicated to following a platform churned out by an AI, and its public face is a chatbot named Leader Lars.
Somehow, though, I bet you can't tell.
The Synthetic Party, a new Danish political party with an artificially intelligent representative and policies derived from AI, is eyeing a seat in parliament and it hopes to run in the country's November general election. The party was founded in May by the artist collective Computer Lars and the nonprofit art and tech organization Mind Future Foundation. The Synthetic Party's public face and figurehead is an AI chatbot, Leader Lars, which is programmed on the policies of Danish fringe parties since 1970 and is meant to represent the values of the 20% of Danes who do not vote in the election. Leader Lars won't be on the ballot anywhere, but the human members of the Synthetic Party are committed to carrying out the AI-derived platform.
Can I just point out that its name starts with an L and is only a few letters long, and it's very clearly actually Landru from Star Trek, and everyone should know this by now. You should all see this coming.
Quote, we're representing the data of all fringe parties. So it's all of the parties who are trying to get elected into parliament but don't have a seat. So it's a person who formed the political vision of their own that they would like to realize, but they usually don't have the money or the resource to do so. That's according to the creator of the party and artist researcher at Mind Future.
Does he give his name?
So Brendan says, yeah. So Skynet first. Cool. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Leader Lars is an AI chatbot that people can speak with on Discord.
So how long before Leader Lars ends up spawning off another chatbot, and we can call it Leader Larson, since it's Denmark?
Yeah.
No, you know what? What's gonna happen is you're gonna have you're gonna start out with Lars, which we all know is Landru, and then you're gonna have like M5 and was it the Artans or whatever, and then it's gonna be like, do you know how many times Star Trek warned us that following artificial intelligence only leads to bad things? Do you know how many times that happened?
Not even just Star Trek. Basically, half of the science fiction fucking genre tells you that following AI is a terrible idea.
Well, right, but I mean, like in Star Trek, like we see, like with Landru and anybody who does it who's not a hyper nerd like I am.
We got Star Trek, we got Matrix, we got the Terminator. Like,
right, but the reason I bring up Star Trek specifically is because in the episode with Landru, that's the episode where the entire society has decided to base itself around the dictates of an artificial intelligence. And so it's all ruled by an AI specifically. And like, it's horribly despotic and awful and despicable. Like,
yeah,
this is a thing. This is a constant theme where artificial intelligences wind up being evil.
You could even point at Captain Marvel, because that ends that way too.
Motherboard asked Leader Lars in Discord if the bot supports basic income. Quote, I am in favor of a basic income for all citizens. I believe that a basic income would help reduce poverty and inequality and give everyone a safety net to fall back on. I believe that AI should be included in setting up the basic income level so it can help make an objective assessment of need and ensure that everyone gets a fair share.
So this is a political leader who's literally an NPC.
Mm-hmm.
Literally an NPC.
It sounds like when they built this particular AI, they definitely included the Communist Manifesto as an integral part of the programming.
That's 20%, right? 20%, all the fringe groups, not the main party groups. This is the ideology of the fringe groups. right? The 20% that is outside the main party system and up there, right? So
yeah, this is.
Yes.
But I mean, like this. What I think is hilarious is that everything that it spews is exactly the stuff that you hear the shitlibs constantly
Mhm.
spew, right? Without any kind of thought at all. And now they've given up on even having a human being just regurgitate this
Mhm.
crap, and they've just made an AI to do it for them.
Oh, that's cute. Shaw still believes in Biden. Bro, look at the Biden different faces.
Right?
There's like 8 Bidens, bro. But
It's Biden's. They're all actually technically one. It's a hive mind,
it's a hive mind.
and I mean a failing hive mind, but it's a hive mind.
It's a hive mind with glitchy connections.
Hive mind running on what the hell is it? Mint Mobile.
It's Bluetooth 1.0 hive mind, so
They got to be within
it's-
5 feet of each other. It doesn't
it's
work.
not
right.
great range or quality of connection. But
The hive mind, but the computer's run by a really tired hamster on a wheel.
I was gonna say the computer's run by an old, 286 DX1.
They downloaded the voice tracks off of LimeWire.
do you think the Bidens run on Visual Basic? Is that where we're going here? That it's-
No, it's Biden's actually run on dip switches, like NASA in the 1940s or 1950s.
it's actually the what was the name of the computer that Turing built to crack Enigma? I forget what he named it. But it's actually achieved semi-sentience, and
There you
go. that's what's running the Biden.
So you're saying Biden is most definitely not Whopper from War Games?
No, because
No.
that will obviously not, considering that he said the only way to win is not to play.
Not to play.
Yeah.
And Biden keeps threatening to play.
Right.
Did you see that they the 101st debarking right across from the Ukrainian border?
How could this go badly? And you know what's going to happen is that an errant Russian missile is going to come down and explode amidst them, kill a bunch of them, and then that's going to be the excuse to go into Ukraine. You know that's going to happen, and just like that attack on that train that was fired by a missile that was somehow simultaneously definitely Russian and photographed less than 24 hours prior in the Ukrainian inventory,
Yes.
it's going to very obviously be a false flag, but there's nothing we're going to be able to do about it. It's going to put us into a nuclear war.
Yes. We're so fucked, bro.
Oh, we're beyond fucked at this point.
Where's that other quote? Okay. Sautés is one of the creators. Sautés explained that the synthetic party differs from what he calls the quote fully virtual politicians such as Sam from New Zealand and Alyssa from Russia. Those candidates, which the AI-powered bots that voters could talk to, Sautés say they are quote anthropomorphosing the AI in order to add as an objective candidate so that they become authoritarian. While we synthetics are in full-on democratization of a quote more than human way of life. What the synthetic party prioritizes, according to Sautés, is not so much having a central AI figurehead, but examining how humans can use AI to their benefit. So far, the synthetic party only has 11 signatures out of the 20,000, or the 20,000 that would make it eligible to run in the November's election.
And all of those are, in fact, from other robots.
No disassemble. Yeah. No disassemble.
Yeah. The signatures are all in binary. Like, I don't even know what this is.
The check box, the X is like 3 inches to the left.
Can you imagine if they make it
I'm a
an
human.
online form? Imagine if they make an online form and are you a robot? And they're like, oh no, this is discriminatory.
So we had to get that out of the way because I thought it was absolutely hilarious. But Dave Poppins and Padgett says, I hope they nuke Minneapolis first.
I sure don't. I live like only a couple of hours south of the Twin Cities.
Yeah, we're not looking for that just because Fallout is a thing.
Yeah, and I'm southeast. You know, the prevailing winds and all that.
The
jet stream
direction
will
that the damn
blow.
jet scene goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
straight at me. Straight at me.
64-year-old New York University economics professor and the CEO of Rubini Macro Associates. That is Neural Robinini. He predicted the 2008 housing collapse. Right, he has released a new book.
So whatever he says is definitely going to bode well for what's coming.
He's officially labeled Dr. Doom, by the way. And he predicts that New York City will be destroyed by nukes and storms in the next 20 years.
Excellent.
Big money, no whammies. Big money, no whammies.
He's seriously considering whether he wants to continue living in New York, mostly because, well, he wants to survive. Quote, there's a scenario in which in the next 12 months, Russia uses tactical nuclear weapons against Ukraine, and then they attack NATO, and we start a conventional war with Russia. The first nuclear weapon is going to New York, he says.
I mean, I would aim at DC first, personally. I mean, if I was just like it strategically, that makes more sense.
Well,
but
no, I mean, when you think of United States, like if you're in Europe, when you think of United States, you think of the Big Apple.
Well, I mean, I suppose if you're trying to cripple
or Los Angeles.
Yeah,
because remember, it's not about doing damage, right? It's about
psychological effect.
It's about the psychological.
Yeah, but it would also cripple trade too. So it's kind of a double, like, because if you target all of our major ports,
Europe's going down anyway.
Yeah, but Europe might be going down. But if we're talking about like if potentially Russia fires a nuke at the United States, they're going to be aiming to disable all of our ports, disable our ability to ship and receive, disable our ability to.
Oh, it was nice knowing you, Jason.
Yep. Even if Manhattan manages to avoid nuclear annihilation, there's still the possibility of a natural disaster like Hurricane Sandy that flooded New York in 2002 or 2012. He said, but much, much worse. In the next 20 years, most of downtown New York is going to be underwater.
They sunk the fucking island below sea level in the first fucking place.
A recent $52 billion proposal from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, which has promised to build sea barriers to protect the city from another storm surge, are impractical, he added, because, quote, who's going to pay for that? They don't even know if it's going to work. It'll take 25 years to build, and even if we save Manhattan, all of the Jersey Shore and Long Island will be flooded because the water needs to go somewhere.
And
I'm not seeing the downside here.
I'm not seeing the downsides.
I'm just like, and your concern is like I didn't initially support this proposal, but once you say that, well, I mean now
I'm on board. Hey,
yeah, like let's do this.
Where do we talk to start? I was gonna say, who do we talk to start donating money to this?
Could we do this as a Kickstarter, or like if I donate $250 to it, does like my name get scrawled into one of the concrete bricks
written on the side of the bomb?
Yeah, like
there you go.
You too can adopt a bomb that will be dropped on New York in the arms of an angel.
I mean, I'm
Please
just saying, like, this is kind of how I learned to let go and love the bomb. I'm just saying, well, you know, and the funny thing too with nuclear war is like, you know, we've talked about like, oh, well, you could just run to, you know, move to the less occupied areas of the country. And like, I had talked about going to northern Wisconsin and like up into the Northwoods and like, there's nothing around there. And then I'm like, but except Volk Field, which is part of the American nuclear arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just over the hill from Port Chicago. I don't know if you guys remember what that is from World War II. Yeah, I mean that's the Port Chicago explosion that happened. Right, they were loading bombs on the train cars, and one of them went off.
Oopsie doodles.
There's still a lot of bombs over there.
Whee.
But yeah, he first came to prominence 16 years ago when he correctly predicted collapse of the housing market and the emergence of a worldwide recession, which we did have in 2008, 9, 10. But he is now doubling down on his grim forecast. This time, Rubini sees global devastation everywhere from another financial crisis, a stagflation, like a recession but worse, is coming for the end of 2022 and will be, quote, long and ugly, he says, to climate change, which Rubini calls a slow motion train wreck, and another pandemic that'll make COVID's body count look quaint.
Well, I mean, since Boston University is already creating,
is already building an even deadlier one.
Yeah. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah. Hold on. This hold on. Okay. I'm trying to take him serious. I'm really trying to take. Okay. The nation's coast, he said, will soon be flooded. Quote, Florida is going to be underwater. All of it, not just Miami. Most of the South will be too hot to live. You'll have drought from Colorado to California and wildfires like crazy all over the West. We'll have a great migration to the Midwest into Canada. We'll have to take over Canada. Literally.
Because that worked out in 1812.
Quote, I'm not joking. The Canadians are going to say no, but they don't have the army. They have the land and the water, but no army to defend it. Unless they unify with us, everyone's going to try and take over Canada. They need a well-armed U.S. to protect them. So we'll become the United States of North America just out of necessity. I mean, Mexico? There was a reason Trump wanted to buy Greenland.
What?
That's what he said.
I remember that. I remember
that too.
But at no, Trump did a lot of things that made absolutely no sense. First of all, second of all, Greenland is real freaking cold. Third of all,
it's real freaking cold now.
Oh, he's saying, oh, well, it's all going to melt and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's a little horseshit. Hell know it.
That sounds like a storyline from the Fallout series. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I mean, like, oh, we're going to
most of the shit that they're telling us nowadays about climate change anyway, sounds like a damn story out of fucking Fallout.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, though, too, is like, talking about invading Canada, like, in case anybody history.
Chris, remember that line that you just said? You're going to have to repeat it in a second because Andrew's going to talk and we're going to lose the segue. So I'm going to need you to repeat it.
Okay, I don't even remember what I just said.
Oh, fuck.
I remember what you just said. So in the War of 1812, again, this is where the American education system likes to pretend that America's always the good guys. The whole reason that started was because America tried to invade fucking Canada and take it.
Yep.
Like, that is what started the War of 1812, was America invading. And then Britain was like, ours? No. And, like, and showed up and proceeded to, burn the White House. And in case you forgot, we've been handing Britain a hell of a lot of military hardware for a very long time. They have access to, ever since World War II, they have access to all of the American, top secret American programs and things. So you think that's going to go well for us?
Well,
like,
I mean,
that's going to be easy. Like, yeah, okay, Canada itself doesn't have a giant military, but the British,
neither did Afghanistan, but home field advantage is a major player.
Yeah, but the thing is that like the British are not going to just not show up with things like aircraft carriers and fighter jets. So that, like, that's not going to go well. Yeah, that's not going to go well for the United States. They have a pretty
okay. The British Army has 79,380 active personnel, and they have 4,090 Gurkhas. Okay, we're fucked. There's 4,000.
Yeah, Gurkhas. Need I say more?
We're
Gurkhas. It's And the Dave, you're actually right. That 1812 was because Americans invited American military into Canada to be like, hey, we should take it now. Actually, Americans living in Canada decided that Canada should just become part of the United States, and then started a war over it, and then said, hey, U.S., come help us, and then America invaded, and things just went from there. And then they burned the White House. It didn't go well. Yes, America has a much larger military now and everything else, but the reality is that
It's
now
fighting right out 3 million active or something like that.
Yes, it's. But the thing is,
I think it's
2.8.
I think it's 2.5 active and then another 1.2 reserve or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. But 4,000 Gurkhas.
But what are you? Yeah, and what are you fighting over? You're fighting over a frozen wasteland. Have you been to Canada? Like, what do you want that for?
Because they ride on moose and throw Gurkhas at people.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you want the moose? What?
Hey, improvised armored vehicles, moose would work.
No army has ever stood up to a charge of armored moose. I'm just putting that out there. You could say it's wrong. You could say it's wrong. But a cavalry charging on moose, has never lost.
And
could you imagine the
extra
psychological impact of that?
Extra bonus, too.
Can you imagine seeing that through your nods?
That would be upsetting.
Right.
Can you imagine a moose technical? I just want to point out
what was in that MRE? Expired 1993. Oh, okay.
No, that explains.
That explains.
Well, and the thing is too is like the moose do have the extra advantage if we can get our hands on them that they probably scare horses. Those Mounties. So
yeah.
That at least gives us a
little
bit.
But I could see the Mounties taming the moose.
Yeah, even with the Mounties, you have to be careful because remember how many times Dudley Do-Right did win.
Hey man, I have seen Canadian bacon. I know how this goes. That's.
Now I want a moose cavalry patch.
That would be freaking.
Dave.
It's got to be a Mountie though to be as funny. Like just a Mountie with like a minigun riding on the back of an fully armored moose.
The minigun is strapped to the antlers.
Canadian Strike Force.
What is it? I know there's one out there that does. It's a tactical moose with nods and whatnot.
Nice. So basically, it's a Wendigo.
Yeah. Terrifying.
I don't want the Windissy anymore. I don't want the Windissy anymore.
I hear Mulkey in the background. Who said Windissy? Windissy. Like that fucking statue in the park in Wisconsin there.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, well, you know what? To be fair,
that's just what I want to see, as the light is fading and I'm trying to hurry up and get out of the park.
To be fair, Wisconsin is the home of the Wendigo because it is an Ojibwa legend specifically. Yeah. And I just spent several hours driving home from the Ojibwa reservation today. Yeah. So
yeah, IGCS. That probably sounds about right. The moves with nods. But so Christopher, what was your line you're supposed to say?
Sounds something about everything that they're been saying lately. Sounds like something out of Fallout.
White House pulls inspiration from Operation Darkstorm in the Matrix film to combat global warming. Officials want to spray particles into the stratosphere to limit sunlight hitting Earth at a cost of $10 billion per year.
I've seen the Animatrix, and that also didn't go well for humanity.
What is it with this? Just these like we joke around. Somebody read 1984 and said, "Hey, there's some good ideas in here." What?
Nope.
What? Take a look around, bro.
If you watch the Matrix and the Animatrix, and you go, "Hey, there's some good ideas here."
I'm questioning your ability to think.
Yeah. Because remember, that's in the movie from the Animatrix where it explains the rise of the machines, right? Where that one household android gains sentience and then kills its owners because they're going to deactivate it and their cat. Yes. And so they It creates this big thing, blah, 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 blah. And of course, there's a bunch of humans protesting on the side of the machines because people are dumb.
Yeah. So the White House announced a 5-year plan that aims to limit how much sunlight hits Earth to combat global warming and involves spraying particles into the atmosphere to reflect light back into space. A similar technique, codenamed Operation Darkstorm, in the Matrix 4 film. While it sounds like a plot from a science fiction film, because
it is,
U.S. government officials are looking to spend around $10 billion per year on the program that would send flying aircraft into the stratosphere to release an aerosol with reflective abilities. The research, according to CNBC, is looking at sulfur dioxide, which spews from volcanoes and coal factories and is known to block sunlight along with cool the Earth.
Wait.
Yes.
Hold on. Just a cotton-picking moment here.
Was it sulfur dioxide that got you?
It was
the fact that they admitted that volcanoes.
Well, it's the sulfur dioxide that is spewed from coal factories.
So we could just burn more coal
and have the same effect.
So what you're telling me is that the thing that they blamed for global warming and started shutting down
is also the solution.
That is going to cool the Earth.
Greta's short-circuiting right now.
What?
Andrew's short-circuiting right now.
Okay, I'll read that again. The research, according to CNBC, is looking at sulfur dioxide, which I believe is causes acid rain. Or acid rain.
Isn't that the atmosphere of like fucking Venus?
Yeah, something like that. Research according to CNBC is looking at sulfur dioxide, which spews from volcanoes and coal factories and is known to block sunlight along with cool the Earth. An excessive amount of the component, however, can have negative impacts on the environment and human health, and the White House is conducting research for a way to mitigate the effects.
Just go outside in your plastic bunny suit when the acid rain starts to fall, and you'll be fine.
The Matrix used this technique to stop machines from taking over the Earth, but the White House wants to use it to intervene in the Earth's climate system in a way that offsets the effects of climate change. So, hold on. They're going to use a byproduct of coal burning to protect the Earth
from
us burning too much coal.
Yes. That's their thought.
I was expecting them to try something, like silver nitrate, something that's actually reflective.
The funny thing though is that remember the stuff that they banned from hairspray and stuff.
The aerosol spray.
CFCs.
That was the CFCs back in the 70s, right? And then they found out that the CFCs actually block sunlight better than our natural atmosphere. And went, oh God, it's going to cause a new ice age. Remember, and that was a big thing in the 70s was we're going to enter a new ice age and blah blah blah. And like,
hold that thought. Hold that thought. The program is being led by the White House Office of Science and Technology, which was directed by Congress to develop the plan, and spraying sulfur dioxide seems to be the running idea.
You'll remember Congress is the same people who think that Guam will capsize if too many people go there.
Sulfur dioxide is a gaseous air pollutant made of sulfur and oxygen, which creates a bright haze that reflects sunlight back into space, making it a perfect candidate for the White House's fight against climate change.
What we could do is we could just superheat the oceans and make it evaporate into a giant cloud, and then that would do the same thing, but we wouldn't have a risk of acid rain that way. See, and that's surely going to work out well for everything.
Well, that's coming with the nuclear war anyway, Andrew. So I mean,
hold on. Using the components is not a unique idea, as New Jersey's Rutgers University published a paper in 2020 about the same technique. The scientists proposed spraying sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere at different locations around the world to form sulfuric acid clouds that block some solar radiation.
Which are known to be very healthy for all things underneath them.
Yes. So I would also like to point out, I don't know if you guys remember back in January, there was that massive eruption out in the Pacific. Was it Hunga Tunga volcano?
Something like that.
And that, for the entirety of the southern hemisphere, has enjoyed, and I use that term loosely, some rather unusual sunrises and sunsets this year, as a direct result of the amount of sulfur dioxide that volcano spewed into the atmosphere.
And that volcano, you know what else it spewed and more into the atmosphere than what human beings could possibly create?
CO2?
Yeah, greenhouse gases.
Yep.
Well, sulfur dioxide is also a fantastic greenhouse gas.
Yes. The study also notes that the amount of spray can be adjusted every year to keep global warming at recommended levels.
What?
Recommended by
who?
Yeah.
You don't know what the actual temperatures were in prehistory. You have no idea because it's prehistory. So you can make educated guesses, maybe. But the thing is if you look at the last ice age, you'll notice a non-stopped warming trend since then. So,
and if you look at the geological record as well, prior to the last ice age, there was that's right, a global warming trend before that.
Mount Tambora, which blew its top in April 1815, shot a cloud of sulfur dioxide more than 20 miles into the atmosphere. This caused a 3-degree drop in temperatures across the northern hemisphere. So,
yeah.
Yep, that was the year without summer.
Yeah, this is just an absolute fantastic idea.
Crop failures, famines, general
rampant disease.
Social upheaval as a result of that.
They can't idea. They can't control inflation on their manufactured fiat currency, but they can totally spray the perfect amount of particles into the air that can stop global warming.
And as we all know,
and not kill off all the crops.
Yeah, and as we all know from the history of the DNR, they never make terrible mistakes trying.
They never.
The environment.
They have a perfect record.
Absolutely perfect record.
Yeah, this is insane. You know what? This is probably the worst thing that I've read this week. It's probably the worst thing I read this week. But you know what the second worst thing I read this week was?
Never good when it starts off with a big sigh.
Oakland cops hope to arm robots with lethal shotguns.
Oh, we're back to Skynet again.
Oh, cool.
So we have AI politicians. we have blocking out the sun, and now we have robots with weapons.
Wait, I've seen this one. I've seen
several of these.
Take the red pill, Neo. You know what? I'm just going to start buying a bunch of black leather now.
Right?
Just get ahead of the curve.
Buy some helicopter manuals. In a series of little-noted Zoom meetings this fall, the city of Oakland, California, grappled with the question whose consequences could shape the future of American policing. Should cops be able to kill people with shotgun-armed robots?
The last time we heard about robots in the police force, the robot gave its own resignation by driving itself into a fountain.
It drove itself directly into the water, committed suicide.
The back and forth between the Oakland Police Department and the civilian oversight body concluding with the police relinquishing their push for official language that would have allowed them to kill humans with robots under certain circumstances. It was a concession to the civilian committee, which pushed the bar arming robots with firearms, but a concession only for the time being. The department's
just so everybody is aware, one of the best things that works really, really well for messing up electronics when it's on the move, tungsten carbide traveling at high velocities.
Yes. Slap. The department said it will continue to pursue lethal options. When asked whether the Oakland Police Department will continue to advocate for language that will allow killer robots under certain emergency circumstances, Lieutenant Omar Daza Juarez, who represented the department in the discussion over the authorized robot use policy, told The Intercept, quote, "Yes, we are looking into that and doing more research at this time."
Can you tell me what that guy's name was again?
Lieutenant Omar, Omar, Daza, Daza, hyphen Quiroz.
Wow. That's
yes.
It's quite a name.
Yeah. The controversy began at September 21st meeting of the Oakland Police Commission Subcommittee, a civilian oversight city council addressing what rules should govern the use of the city's arsenal of military-grade police equipment. According to California state law,
have police with military-grade fucking equipment.
Yes. According to California state law, police must seek approval from the local governing body, like a city council, to determine permissible use of military equipment or weapons like stun grenades and drones. Much of the September meeting focused on the staples of modern American policing, with the commissioners debating the permissible use of a flashbang grenades, tear gas, and other now standard equipment with representation from the Oakland Police Department.
All of which is banned by the Geneva Convention, so you know it's totally fine against your own people.
You can totally use it
that's
against
not
protesters
tyrannical at all.
Yeah, roughly 2 hours into the meeting, however, the conversation moved onto the Oakland Police's stable of robots and their accessories. One such accessory is a gun-shaped, quote, percussion-actuated non-electric disruptor, a favorite tool of the bomb squads at home and at war. The pan, that is a percussion-actuated non-electric disruptor, affixes to a robot and directs an explosive force, typically a blank shotgun shell or pressurized water, at suspected bombs while human operators remain at a safe distance.
You know, I'm picturing myself in a meme where I slowly turn into Sarah Connor.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes. Hold on.
Including grabbing a hold of the fence and burning alive in the nuclear holocaust?
Also that.
While describing the safety precautions taken while using the pan disruptor, Daza Juarez told the subcommittee that the department takes special care to ensure that it is, in fact, a blank round loaded into the robot's gun. This led a clearly bemused Jennifer Tu, a fellow with the American Friends Service Committee and member of the Oakland Police Commission Subcommittee on Militarized Policing, to ask, quote, "Can a live round physically go in, and what happens if a live round goes in?" Juarez answers, "Yes, physically a live round can go in. Absolutely. And you'd be getting a shotgun round." After a brief silence,
but the good news is that police are generally historically very good at discerning between lethal weapons and non-lethal weapons, like you know, say versus a taser versus their pistol.
Taser, bang! Oh shit!
Which also happened in Oakland with Johannes Meserly and Oscar Grant.
Especially the Oakland PD.
They're also really, really good historically. Police are at discerning who is an actual threat and who is not. As in the case of
Oakland is fantastic with that.
Of Damond. I was thinking about that woman from Minneapolis who was she called for police assistance and then they showed up and killed her.
Yeah.
Worked out real good.
After a brief silence, Commissioner Jesse Heisch asked the next question: does the department plan on using a live round in the robot pan disruptor? No, Diaz Chorus says, before quickly pivoting to a hypothetical scenario in which, yes, just such a shotgun armed robot might be useful to police. Quote, I mean, it is possible we have an active shooter in a place we can't get to, and he's fortified inside a house. Or we're just trying to get a person, and the quote ends, but yeah.
So no, we definitely not do that. I mean, unless it seems like a good idea, in which case we'll totally, absolutely do that.
That's the long and short of it.
I mean, we have now we have AI politicians blocking out the sun and armed robots.
Oh, and let us not forget that Mark Zuckerberg is leading the way trying to develop the metaverse.
Yes.
A 3D reality, virtual reality. This seems all so familiar. I just can't place it.
I'm just, maybe the nukes aimed at New York are going in the wrong spot.
Can I also point out that
Rutgers, the White House, Oakland.
I'm starting to feel like payphones, getting rid of them may have been a bad decision.
Yeah, Superman's got nowhere to change.
We're gonna need those.
Hey, I just saw one.
What?
Yeah, an actual payphone.
In a museum?
No, in use, still active.
Dude, that's like seeing a fucking unicorn.
Right? Nope, I saw it hanging on the wall. I was like, does that thing still work? Walked over, picked up the receiver, and actually was greeted by the old... That's all.
Nice.
Like, well, son of a bitch.
So there are still a few around, so we're going to need to start mapping out exactly where those all are across the country here.
Get us out of here. Well, yeah, we'll all be batteries or living underground for the gun-toting robots after we block out the sun.
The real question is, do you care if the juicy, delicious steak is real or not?
If I am conscious that it is fake, then yes, I care.
Yes.
If I am not conscious that it's fake and I was never told that it was fake,
I don't give a two shits.
Then I don't care, because it's what I know, right? But if what you know is fake, then you have to know that what you know is fake.
But can you free yourself like the kid?
Oh God, no.
Are you willing to free yourself like the kid?
Given what I saw in that movie, probably not.
I always wondered what would happen if Neo reached out and just took both pills.
He'd have convulsed and died.
What would happen if Neo reached out and took both pills?
That's what happens. That's what happens when you go into a coma. That's what happens when you go into a coma. You take both pills, right? Because your body's fucked, but your mind's free.
I think that what happens is what the Hollywood winds up creating the Matrix Resurrections, which is clearly a fucking terrible movie that never should have been made ever. And that's what happens when Neo takes both pills. Is that film right there, and it's awful.
I gotta address that, Dave. You said less risk to good guys is good. Who determines the good guys? Right? We're all supposed to be innocent until proven guilty.
Exactly.
Yeah, the cops are not historically good at determining who is even a threat and who is not.
Yeah.
And even when they've determined who is a threat and who is not, they've shown that they're not exactly good at hitting the target.
Yeah, Johnny Hurley that Jack said earlier. That's a really good example.
Right.
3 guys in Alabama just released out of jail after 28 years because a cop lied to put him in there.
As the chat mentions, that kid that was just sitting there eating a hamburger in a parking lot that just gets shot for sitting there eating a hamburger in a parking lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Because his car was vaguely similar to a car that had evaded the officer earlier in the day.
Yeah. Oh.
And the list goes on and on.
Yeah. So it should always err on the side of caution. That's just.
I would rather 100 million guilty people go free than see a single innocent person executed in the street.
Speaking of that kid in San Antonio, anybody know what his status is?
I think he's still on the mend. No.
Yeah, thankfully he did survive being shot by a cop for eating cheeseburgers in a parking lot.
Okay, let's okay, we don't want to do the big story yet, do we?
Nah, I think that we should do the funny one. If we got a funny one.
We don't have a funny one.
I thought you said there was a funny one.
We did the secret one.
No, we did the nukes were the secret one.
Oh. Well.
Okay. We don't want to do the big one. I want to leave that one for last. So we're going to go to Colorado. Colorado towns seizing ski resorts land to stop it from building employee housing.
Yes. Eminent domain.
Yes. Following months of increasing contentious headbutting, officials in the mountain town of Vail, Colorado, are moving to seize a property from a local ski resort to prevent it from constructing new housing for its employees. The property in question is 5-acre site abutting a frontage road on the eastern part of the 5,600-person ski town. At nearly 5 years of rezoning, planning, permitting, and litigation, ski resort operator Vail Resorts is ready to move ahead with the $17 million Booth Heights project that would create 165 beds for its workforce. Quote, it's been a multi-year partnership, collaboration, and process to get where we are with full entitlement and shovel-ready projects, says Vail Resorts spokesman John Plack. Quote, this is private property owned by the company and private dollars that the company is investing in the project.
So not a cent of public money is going into this project.
Yes. Plack tells Reason that there's a deficit of some 6,000 beds for the county's workforce. The Booth Heights development wouldn't solve the crisis, he says, quote, but every little bit helps. So this is 165 beds for their business, right? 6,000 bed deficit in the county, right? So that would free up 156 beds in the county, right? Standing in their way is the town of Vail itself, which filed a petition in Eagle County District Court on Friday to invoke eminent domain powers to seize the Booth Heights site and hold it as open space. Quote, it's unfortunate we've come to this place, says Vail Mayor Kim Langwine of the eminent domain petition. Vail, Langwine says, quote, is committing to workforce housing and has several public-private partnerships to provide that housing currently in the works. But developing the Booth Heights property would threaten the area's bighorn sheep, who would be at risk of starvation without the open space, she says.
But the sheep!
It's 5 acres.
Yeah, it's 5 fucking acres, and the sheep don't care.
Yes. When a last-ditch effort to buy the property for $12 million was rejected by Vail Resorts in early October, Langmine said they had no choice but to move ahead with eminent domain.
So they're literally saying you will comply willingly or we will make you comply.
Quote, we've come to the end of our rope. We've tried so hard to find a situation that would accomplish everyone's goals.
No, you haven't.
No, you haven't.
You said, hey, we're going to buy this property that you're going to turn into something that will benefit the community, and go, well, but we do other things, surely, that would work. But what about the bighorn sheep? And then when they said no, you said you were going to just take it. Hold
that rant, because you're on the right spot. Just hold that rant for like 2 minutes. It's an about face from the town government that previously endorsed housing on the site. In 2017, the Vail Town Council approved Vail Resorts' requested rezoning of its entire 23-acre Booth Heights property. Some 18 acres owned by the company would be zoned for preserved open space, while the other 5 acres would be zoned for workforce housing.
So they want to seize all of it because of the entire 23 acres. They want to use less than 20%.
Yes.
Yes. Even
That
though
is
they
the measure of their resolve.
They agreed upon 18 acres of open space with 5 acres of housing. But now the town wants to seize the entire 23 acres because they need the 5 acres for open space.
So the people who have done everything to try and find a compromise is the company.
Since 2017, yes.
Yeah, is the company. They found the compromise. They offered it to them, and the county said, nah, I'm just going to take it. And I fucking guarantee you, that if you give it 5 years after they seize it, they will develop their own county bullshit on the land. And probably on all 23 acres.
Yes. So since then, the town's design review board and the planning commission, as well as the town's council itself, also voted to approve site plans, conditional use permits, and other developmental plans Vail Resorts needed to move ahead with the project. In a letter rejecting the town's offer to purchase the site, Vail Resorts COO Bill Rock notes that the town and the company also jointly defended a lawsuit trying to stop the redevelopment of the site that was resolved in the town's favor in October 2020. Quote, while the town of Vail has apparently and inexplicitly made an about face in the last several months, Vail Resort's goal to remain the same for the past 5 years, to work with the town to develop affordable housing.
So question, this is in what state?
Colorado. Vail, Colorado.
Colorado.
Yes.
Colorado sounds familiar. Like maybe
Jack just mentioned him.
Yeah.
I hear they have some really good welders and fabricators out there, and
I feel like eminent domain and all of this crap and Colorado, it all sounds kind of familiar, and there may be an alternative solution.
Ski dozer.
This what? No, that's not a Komatsu, I swear.
Yeah. But
just if I was a ski resort, that's what I would do. Is I would just park a massive Komatsu on that property and just let it sit there for a little bit. Just what's that doing there? Oh, no reason.
I'd let it sit there. No, I'd let it sit there, and every at night, about once a week, I'd pay somebody, some high school kid, to go out there and just weld a little piece of metal on it.
No, you leave it sitting there, and you spray paint on the side. I can see Granby from here.
And just leave it there and just be like, no reason it's there. It's just it's just parked there.
Yeah. Yeah. Just saying. So
it's an awful nice business you have there, town councilman.
Yes. Throughout the process, Vail also maintained that his projects would not harm the area's bighorn sheep. Plactel's reason that the company also committed to paying $100,000 for habitat restoration and would install barriers around the property to prevent residents and pets from interfering with the sheep. An environmental impact report prepared for the project concluded that it would not harm the area's sheep. Vail Resorts notes in a lawsuit challenging the emergency ordinance stopping the construction of its project that the town had improved several large homes within the bighorn sheep's range. Quote, why are luxury homes okay, but affordable housing is not, asks Platt.
See, and that's exactly what I'm saying is going to happen, is what they want is they want to seize that property, and then they're going to develop luxury homes on it.
Yep.
Guaranteed. That is why they did the sudden about face, is somebody in that council realized that the county, and specifically them, could make more money, could line its pockets if they have not affordable housing there, but luxury housing there.
Yep. The higher the house value, the higher the tax value.
Yep. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
how much can they rake you over the coals for this week?
I will guarantee you that that's the plan, that's what they want to do. There is at least one person on that council who is either a real estate developer themselves or very good friends with one.
I mean, 23 acres. luxury home, say, quarter acre per or a third of an acre per. That's a lot
And
of money.
you know what's going to happen is that environmental study's already been done, and so they'll wait 5 years and they'll be like, oh, well, we already did an environmental study on this, and it found that building here wouldn't have any impact on the sheep, so we're just going to go ahead and allow building on here. The county's going to sell it off and allow building on it because it won't have any impact on the sheep. That's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with sheep. It has nothing to do with caring about the environment. It has everything to do with lining their own goddamn pockets.
It does have something to do with sheep, but it's not the bighorn sheep.
Yeah.
Yep. Plaque says Vail needs affordable housing now, and it's ready to provide it. Quote, for us, this option is shovel ready. Remember, they had everything ready to go. Quote, and a lot of other options are 5+ years away, and who knows how many obstacles are in front of them.
Yeah, the entire reason here in town, the entire reason why the city council, they were going to buy a building and build affordable housing in it, and they changed their minds because it's coming up on winter. We have a ton of homeless that need some sort of housing, and they're like, look, we only have $2 million something to spend on this stuff. If we spend it all in one shot on buying this building and then working on developing, it's 2 years out before the building's ready for them to move in, everything else, we have a more immediate need. We're not going to do that. This is a thing that can fill an immediate need nearly immediately.
Yep.
But they don't want that because actually filling an affordable housing need does not put money in their own freaking pockets.
Not only that, but actually filling an affordable housing need in this manner, where no public dollars are being spent on this project, renders them useless.
Yep.
It makes
you notice that their excuse was, well, the county has all sorts of things going on right now. But you also notice that they didn't bother to mention what those were. Yeah, they didn't bother to mention what those were. They didn't bother to say, oh, but they're 5 years. Nothing. They didn't say anything about it. They said, well, we have plans. Yeah, I bet you have a lot of freaking plans. I have plans for my new Lamborghini too. But you know what? That's a little ways away, ain't it?
Drops 3 pennies in the jar. I've already started my fund.
Yeah, I have plans. You know what? Enron had lots of plans for things.
Biden has lots of plans for things.
But I mean, like Enron with their mark-to-market accounting, they had lots of plans for things. Did any of those come to fruition? No.
Nope. Sarah Connor had lots of plans too.
Yeah. Lots of people have plans, but you're arguing that you have all of these other options, and we've tried everything. I mean, at this point, nothing says narcissist like unrepentant, absolute narcissist. Like the other person found the compromise, the other person said, hey, let's do this, you agreed to it, everything else, and then you change your mind, and then when people raise a stink, you go, well, I mean, I tried everything. I tried to compromise.
You're the fucking government, bro. They have to jump through your hoops. And Vail Resorts jumped through every single one of your fucking hoops. And then you went, no.
Because it would make them look bad.
And you're literally trying to take their ball and go home.
Yeah. This is blatant narcissism, which,
that's on par for government.
Yeah, that's completely on brand, right? Like people who aren't terrific narcissists do not go into government. Flat out.
This was the perfect patch.
Like that isn't like, you don't decide, hey, I want to be in charge of other people and dictate to them how they live their lives without being a narcissist. Like that isn't how that works. So when you run for city council and then go, hey, you know what? We can control who can build what where, and we can decide whether or not they even get to own that land. You're pretty much clearing yourself out as a narcissist. And then when you, on top of that, when they're the ones who compromise, they're the ones.
Yeah, this is also a huge NIMBY issue, right? Not in my backyard, right? NIMBY. Because Vail is a very elitist area, right? Luxury homes.
Hell yeah, it is.
It's northwest of Denver, high mountains, beautiful ski resorts, beautiful scenery.
Real estate dudes talk about going skiing in Val, Colorado. Like,
Yeah. It's an elitist area, and 165 low income beds in their backyard scares the Karens.
Even though it's for the workers who do all the shit for
Yes.
them.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
If you've ever watched Dirty Jobs, right, with Mike Rowe, you've seen where he talks about.
But then they have to see it.
Yeah.
Right.
But like,
and that's the big thing is they don't want to see that little bit of what they see as lesser human beings.
It's the same reason why there's a curtain between economy class and first class on flights. Right.
Yep.
I don't even want to see them. Not even in my periphery. Ugh. To the back, scuzz.
That's why they move the homeless out of an area before there's a big event, right? LA is really well known for this. They'll move the homeless out of an area before the Super Bowl, before major soccer games, football games, whatever. They'll move the homeless out of the area because they don't want to see it.
Yeah, La Crosse is home to Oktoberfest USA, right? Like we have one of the largest Oktoberfests in North America.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have very, very close to the Oktoberfest grounds was where the primary homeless encampment was. And leading up to Oktoberfest, what do? Oh, you know what? We're going to rezone this park over here to be a campground, and we're just going to move you all over there.
It's funny you bring that up because the mayor of Seattle just brought up a proposal to ban camping on the streets. She wants to take a couple parks, turn them into homeless free zones or homeless occupational zones or whatever you want to call it. Where it's okay for you to be homeless over here, but you can't be homeless. Oh, that was Portland. Sorry, Portland, not Seattle. But the mayor of Portland wants to ban street camping.
Right, one of the shit-libbiest areas.
Yep.
Of the country.
Is literally the birthplace of Antifa, right? The Rose City. Now they want to ban camping on the streets because the residents, the taxpayers of the area, are tired of dealing with it.
Yeah, rather than going, hey, we need to find core solutions to the problems that cause homelessness and address those, just keep shoving them out of the way.
Yeah.
Just get rid of them. You know what it is? It's that episode of South Park, right? Where they got the buses and California is real good to the homeless.
And then Cartman kicks flips like 3 homeless people.
Yeah, and remember, is it Kyle's dad that's winds up homeless because the property value drops so low, and he's like, if everyone just contributes a little bit, then we could save our house. I just need some change. Bam! He turned. But that's the thing. That's what this is. This is the South Park episode. Stone and Parker were dead on with that, where it wasn't about solving the problem. It wasn't about addressing.
They've been right about a lot of things.
Oh yeah,
they've been right almost as much as the creator of The Simpsons.
Well, Simpsons are just.
The South Park episode where the economy crashes and Kyle tries to take the Margaritaville margarita maker back, and he goes to the Federal Reserve, and they're in the back cutting the head off a chicken, and the chicken runs around this board and falls over, and it says bail out, and so they bail out the company. Yeah, you might have to have been there.
But I mean, where we're at though is it's that's so spot on, because you see that with homeless all the time, where it's not about addressing the issue of homelessness, right? The causes, the root issues, right? What do doctors always say? They used to say anyway, is you don't treat the symptoms, you treat the disease. You treat the cause of the symptoms.
Yeah, it's yeah, I think it's any doctor that doesn't start with what you consume is a doctor you don't want to go to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I mean, most doctors also tell me that I drink too much, and I'm like, well, that's not going to change. So you're going to have to move on from there, doc.
We're going to have to work around this.
Let's just accept reality and move forward. But the thing, homelessness isn't a cause. Homelessness is a symptom. There are a lot of causes for it. And if you want to address those causes, you can fix a lot of the issues and you can help prevent homelessness. You can help.
No, let's just double down on it, bro.
But instead, yeah, they go, we'll just keep shoving them places. Make it harder for them to find anywhere to sleep. Make it harder for them to be able to establish themselves in any one place where maybe they could actually get a job. Maybe they could.
You know what the big issue with homelessness is that there's not enough sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere.
It's just too hot. That's the problem. It's just too hot, and there's not enough.
Especially in California. I mean, it's way too hot. Look at all the fires they keep having.
New update on my area. Right, Antioch is like, it's like 138,000 people. I think is the number I read. 3,500 homeless. 3,500 homeless and 138,000 people.
Yeah, the La Crosse itself proper is, I think, what, 66,000 people?
58.
Okay, is it 58,000? I can't remember, something like that. But
it's like it's a city that can't grow anywhere because it's got the bluffs to the one side, the river to the other. It can't.
Well, we keep running into other towns that won't let us annex them because they're like, no, I see your taxes. I want nothing to do with that.
Smart town.
Yeah, they're all of them. They're just all of the surrounding towns. It's nonstop town, but you're crossing into another one that does not want to be annexed. But we have a homeless population, at least just in Huska Park, of like 400.
Yeah, just in the park. Yeah,
I
probably got close to that many within a half mile of me up on the railroad track.
I mean, and you know what? And having been homeless, amongst those particular homeless, you know what most of them are? Combat vets.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move on to something, and I'm going to label this. This is probably the best thing that I've read, or the best piece of news I've seen, in at least a year. This is an absolute huge white pill for me. You guys know I am a huge fan of the Sagebrush Rebellion.
Yeah.
Right. The Sagebrush Rebellion was a movement by largely sheriffs in the Western United States who basically told the federal government to fuck off for not going to enforce your environmental laws. Right. It was huge in the 1970s and 80s. When the U.S. government and the EPA specifically really started a stranglehold on the West. Things like the Bureau of Land Management. The Bureau of Land Management controls like 92% of the state of Nevada. The federal government controls, I think it's like 57% of the Western United States, of the land in the Western United States. National Forest, national parks, Bureau of Land Management, Department of Wildlife and Resources, Department of
Military.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how often BLM is just like a wonderful acronym for organizations you can totally trust?
Yeah, but this is a white pill for me, and I will not let you say otherwise.
But, are you going to mute Andrew as we move into this one?
Oh no, Andrew's going to be smiling half the time too.
Oh, okay.
No, because we both know that. Well, we all know this guy.
Yes.
And
yeah,
no. This
very exciting.
We can lead into that, but this is something else.
Oh,
Forest Service burn boss arrested after prescribed burn escapes in Eastern Oregon. The leader of a U.S. Forest Service crew conducting a prescribed burn in Eastern Oregon was arrested on charges of reckless burning after the fire spread onto private land.
Excellent.
Grant County Sheriff Todd McKay said the 39-year-old burn boss was taken into custody and transported to jail Wednesday evening. The incident occurred on the Star 6 controlled burn, which escaped Forest Service lands in the Mauer National Forest. The fire burned approximately 20 acres of private land belonging to Holiday Ranches, according to Sheriff McKinney. So this is Grant County. Grant County is adjacent to Hardy County. I believe it's a north-south connection. Hardy County is where the Hammonds lived. Right? If you remember the Hammonds back in 2016, they were doing a prescribed burn on their land when it crossed over onto federal land and burnt several acres of federal land. The federal government came down on them with arson charges and tried to throw them in jail for 20 years. They pled to lesser charges, were sentenced to 3 and 5 years respectively. I think the father was sentenced to 3, the son was sentenced to 5. That went until 2018 when they were pardoned by Biden, or not by Biden, but by Trump.
By Trump.
Yeah. But 2016 they were arrested, and this triggered Ammon Bundy and the Malware Wildlife Refuge occupation. Right? Remember how that all turned out. Remember everything going with that. I mean, there's a lot of internet jokes, but and all that stuff. But
Sounds snacks.
Yeah. The segue to that is Ammon Bundy is now running for governor of Idaho, where he moved.
Not only that,
and he has been officially endorsed by Ron Paul.
All
the man
right.
himself.
Yes.
Yes. In regards to the fire article, it's obviously one of the things that that anybody who owns any land or lives where there's a lot of open land and stuff is well aware. Fires get away from you very easily, right? Like that you have to be incredibly careful when you intentionally start fires to burn back, to prevent fires, that you don't, instead of preventing fires, cause one.
Yes.
So like that's a big thing, right? That actually just happened here in Wisconsin a little bit ago, where the county tried to do a bunch of controlled burns on a day when they had 18-mile-an-hour straight line winds on the ridge tops.
New Mexico, the huge fire earlier this year in New Mexico was a prescribed burn, a national forest prescribed burn that got out of control and burnt something like 600 square miles or something, and killed like a dozen people and completely destroyed a town.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they almost had, hell, you're talking about Bureau of Land Management screwing shit up. Fort McCoy, they tried to burn some of their prairie grasses this fall, and they ended up having to call in all of the local fire departments to help them put it out because it got away. Yeah, every last one of them. Yep.
And there's a lot of towns and counties around Fort McCoy, and just all of them had to show up. But I mean, that's the thing, is like it's super easy to get away from you, so you have to be intelligent about it. And generally, landowners are fairly intelligent about it, right? Yeah. And they're pretty smart. But what you see throughout, I mean, I just had an example. Chris had an example. There's multiple examples that you mentioned, Jason. Like, how many of these examples can we think of where constantly it's county or federal government or state government or Bureau of Land Management employees who are doing these burns, who just let them get away, and then it causes destruction, it causes issues, it destroys property, right? Yep. And that's a constant theme, because yet again, no one can ever be quite as dumb as government employees can be.
Yes. Not only that, but this burnt private land, right? My land is my land, right? That's the way it should be. If I destroy government land, which is technically supposed to be public land, I get punished for it. Right? But the government destroys my land. I'm supposed to be like, oh, oopsie, and be okay with that.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was saying, like with the one here in Wisconsin, where they had started it on public land to burn public prairie, because prairies need to burn periodically. Yes, they just flat out do. But they did it on a day when they had super high winds. I mean, it was like gusts up to like 28 miles an hour. It was 18 constant.
Yep.
And they started fires.
I remember when that happened, because what they did is they put it out in the paper, hey, or news media, whatever. Hey, we're going to be doing this prescribed burn on XYZ day. Don't be alarmed by the smoke plume that you're going to see.
Yeah.
Well, that day came, and anybody with half a brain would go, no.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is I drove past it, right? I drove past it on the highway, and I was watching farmers race out there with their tractors and put discs in to try and churn up the dirt in front of these fires to stop it from burning their houses.
Yep, burn the houses, the crops, everything. But
And so like that was a thing that like happened here locally. Like I remember when that happened. That was down by my parents and by my mom. And like that was a thing that like everybody was up in arms about, and like several people got fired for it. There was, big investigation, all this other stuff. Basically the general question from courts and the state Senate was, you knew that it was high winds and you set a fire anyway?
Yep.
Like why would you do that?
That's the trigger in this one too. Prior to Wednesday incident, the Forest Service issued a press release explaining that the conditions were suitable for the prescribed burn, including temperature, relative humidity, and fuel moisture in the area. Grant County District Attorney Jim Carpenter identified the U.S. Forest Service boss arrested as Rick Snodgrass. Quote, this case will be evaluated once the investigation is complete, and if appropriate, Snodgrass will be formally charged. These cases rarely have a bright line and involve a number of variables to be considered. However, to be clear, the employee and or position of Snodgrass will not protect him if it is determined that he acted recklessly. The U.S. Forest Service was engaged in a prescribed burn may actually raise rather than lower the standard to which Snodgrass will be held.
And it should be higher, right? Like because the government claims an absolute right to coercive violence, which means they should continuously have a significantly higher standard of behavior than the average person. Just like the average cop should have a far higher standard under pressure, these guys should have a far higher standard when they're deciding to do these things.
Our minds are the same spot. Like, you must be reading mine because I just read a paragraph that
as soon as he went off, I'm like, you know what? I don't have to say shit. I'm just going to sit here and let it go.
Nothing like this has happened before. Explained Chris Adlam, regional fire specialist with Oregon State University Extension Fire Program. Quote, it raises a lot of questions. I'm concerned that it will cause a chilling effect for burn bosses everywhere who are now going to have to add this to their list of concerns on the prescribed burn, which is already a complicated operation.
And just fucking should have been in the first goddamn place.
Fun fact, Grant County, where this took place, was one of the first counties to vote approval for Greater Idaho.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing is like, so essentially what's being argued here by this guy is, but this might mean that the government actually has to consider regular citizens.
Oh, man, we can't arm our robots? How are we going to do our jobs?
Oh, no. You know what?
Watch, the next time they do a burn, there's going to be a sign at the perimeter of the burn that says, this burn protected by armed androids.
I mean, at this point, like, seriously, so first, like, if you want to carry a gun professionally, but you're too scared to run in against an active shooter, you are too much of a coward to carry a gun.
It's a mostly peaceful prescribed burn. That's all.
Yeah. Right. If you are too scared,
it's a mostly peaceful active shooter.
Okay. Hold on. We got.
Right? But if you're too stupid, if you're too scared to run into an active shooter and you want to carry a gun for a living, right?
Or an active fire.
If you're too scared to run into that active shooter, then you have no business carrying that gun professionally because you're a fucking coward and you should have nothing to do with it.
I support concealed carry Pulaskis.
If you are too stupid to consider and too lazy to consider the possible property damage of a fire you are going to intentionally set, you have no business with a job title of fire boss.
So you support constitutional carry fire rigs
and fire extinguishers and have you seen those cool fire bomb things? They're super neat that they have in some factories where it's like a specific type of polymer, right?
Yes.
And it's full of the fire retardant stuff and it's slightly pressurized. And so when the fire weakens it goes boom. Those are neat as hell.
They're actually really, really popular in server farms.
Mm-hmm. Server farms and submarines.
Yeah, they're so cool. They're so
all right. Okay.
Cool.
Now we have to go to the complete opposite direction. I'm sorry.
Well, define complete opposite direction?
Humboldt County, California, caught fining innocent homeowners $10,000 per day for offenses they did not commit.
Oh, what a shock! Actually, it is kind of a shock in Humboldt County, but
Well,
like,
it's just,
do they have death wishes?
this is so much worse than you think it is. In 2018, after a wildfire destroyed their Southern California home, Corinne and Doug Thomas did their best to find silver lining and turn that nightmare into a dream. They packed up their remaining possessions and, along with one of their 2 autistic adult sons, bought a modest home nestled in Northern California's fabled Redwood Forest. That home, which is perched on a hill over the Avenue of Giants Highway in Humboldt County, was a perfect fit for their family and included a large barn out back for Doug's workshop. Unfortunately, the Thomas's dream quickly turned into a terrible nightmare. Just 6 days after moving in, they received a notice from the county fining them $12,000 per day because the previous owners had used the barn to grow cannabis over 2 years before the Thomases bought the property. The county, which hold on. Okay, just 6 days after moving in, they received a notice from the county fining them $12,000 per day because the previous owners had used the barn to grow cannabis over 2 years before the Thomases bought it.
So they were
hold on. The county, which requires a lengthy permit process for demolition, gave them just 10 days to tear it down. Panicked, they hired a building engineer who estimated that the demolition would cost more than $180,000, which was money they didn't have. As of today, they have accrued more than $1 million in fines.
You know what would have been a lot cheaper than $180,000 is a pair of Molotov cocktails, first of all.
A prescribed burn that got out of hand?
Prescribed burn. There you go. But on top of that...
5 pounds of tannerite on the main beam.
California.
A Komatsu dump truck. Or a bulldozer.
There you go.
Or a dump truck, actually. If you've seen Jackie Chan's Mr. Nice Guy, the dump truck will also work. But the...
Get yourself a 1950s era Peterbilt dump truck or Mack dump truck and just run it right through.
6 days after they moved in, they got a notice from the county saying they had 10 days to remove a barn that the owners 2 years ago, before they bought the place, got caught growing cannabis in, and that they would be fined $12,000 per day.
Shaller.
The barn stayed up.
Oh, you got to put that one on the screen. That was great. That's about demolishing the homes. If you need anything to make the house fall apart, you just need some jet fuel if it's steel beams.
Yeah. They're wood beams, man. They would have survived, just like the passports.
They're made out of passports, so that's going to be useless, I'm afraid. Specifically Saudi passports, so completely unburnable. But so they move in and are now being fined and are up to $1 million in fines.
Just for discussion, let's say they moved in on Saturday, right? They moved in on Saturday. On Friday, they get a letter from the county saying you have 10 days to remove this barn that the people grew weed in 2 years before you bought this property. And if you don't remove it, we're going to fine you $12,000 a day until you do. The letter basically said you have to tear down a building that you've just come into ownership of because someone else did something in it.
Someone
illegal
2 years ago.
2 years ago
did a thing that we have a problem with that hasn't been happening for 2 years that you are not doing and have nothing to do with.
Yes.
But we demand you tear the building down.
Yes.
Because
the home inspection did not disclose all of this to them.
No, the home inspection wouldn't have disclosed anything because the fine is happening
now. After they've already bought the premises.
Jason, do you know, does California have abstracts or does it have titles?
Titles.
Titles? Okay, so you would have used a title company, right? The title company would have gone back, they would have looked at all the county records, they would have done all of that analysis and everything else, and they didn't find anything from the county that said that this had to be torn down, because that would have shown up on a title check. This is what title companies are for, right? This is why they're insured. Because if a title company finds anything like that, they have to disclose it and warn you, the buyer, hey, there's a judgment, or there's a lien, or there's this court order that's sitting out here. None of that existed. That what didn't exist.
Okay, Scott just asked the crux question. What is the basis of needing to remove the barn?
It was previously used for a criminal act.
Hold on. By the county's reasoning, remember this is an Institute of Justice article, which means that these people are in the right because Institute of Justice doesn't take losing cases. By the county's reasoning, anyone with a greenhouse, cleared garden, barn, or other structure that could be used to grow cannabis is assumed to be grown cannabis and fined at least $10,000 per day.
Humboldt can do that in my fucking basement.
Humboldt accuses property owners of cannabis-related offenses without any proof of process. The county rarely bothers to conduct even the most cursory investigation. If the inspector had visited the Thomases, for instance, he would have found an empty barn with a few tools. But Humboldt's inspectors have admitted that they frequently rely on satellite images alone to issue fines.
That roof looks awful suspicious. We should find them.
It makes me think of that one in Denmark not that long ago where they...
Yeah. The Thomases, like more than 1,200 other Humboldt property owners, are victims of the county's so-called, quote, abatement program, which levies crippling fines based on unfounded, scattershot allegations that property owners are growing cannabis without paying the county for a permit. Once fined, owners face a legal labyrinth to prove their innocence. In the Thomases case, for instance, they've waited more than a year for the county to schedule a simple hearing to plead their case. Even as the Thomases waited for a hearing, the daily fines continued to occur.
Yeah, no, and Dave asked in the chat, he said, so this means like half that. No, literally all of the houses in this county need to be destroyed, because you could set up a single grow booth in a 500 square foot efficiency apartment, and that then is being used for unauthorized marijuana grow. So because it could be, then technically all of it can be should be torn down.
Now this is the kicker, because California legalized recreational cannabis. I can legally grow up to 6 plants per adult in my home.
Yep.
So do I have to remove my home now that I could legally grow plants inside of it? Or is this just commercial? Because unpermitted growth can't be used as illegal sales. So this would have to be illegal sales that they are accused of doing because they didn't have a permit.
This is how ridiculous government is.
But again, this is without proof.
And remember,
there's no evidence of anything.
Right, and remember that once these fines get high enough, the police will very happily
hold on. Okay, hold on.
And
Chris just
throw them in the back of cars.
No. Hold on. Chris just said the point. There's no proof. Remember, this is a barn. They can't see what's inside from Google Images.
Right.
And no inspectors ever went up there. So they got the fines based on the
mere presence of a barn.
Ass opinion.
Yep,
the mere presence of the barn.
Yeah.
So what this means is they could have goats in that barn right now, right? They could have moved in, immediately put a bunch of goats in the barn, set it up for goats.
Assault goats?
And now they're assault goats. Yeah. But they could have a bunch of goats in that barn right now.
That would make the barn classified as a high capacity magazine.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they could do that, right? And they would still be ordered to tear the barn down because theoretically it could be used to do a commercial marijuana grow, whether there are goats there presently or not, because on the satellite image, it's a barn.
It's a barn.
And 2 years ago, completely different people, totally unrelated in any possible way to them, used it for an illegal commercial grow.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what this law is. That is how tyrannical this law is. You are being punished for a theoretical thing that you could theoretically do because a person 2 years ago that you don't know and have had nothing to do with did a thing.
Simply because they lived in that house before you bought it.
And remember, commercial grow of marijuana in California is not illegal in itself. It's the fact that it was an unpermitted commercial grow.
Yes. Hold on.
So because 2 years ago, somebody unrelated to them that they have nothing to do with failed to pay blood money to grow plants in a building to the government, they are now being fined $1 million because they're not tearing down a building that 2 years ago people unrelated to them failed to pay a permit to do a thing in.
You know this gets worse, right?
Of course it fucking does.
Yeah. Hold on. Where is it?
So this is a quote from Jared McClan. He's the attorney for the Institute of Justice. He says, quote, Humboldt is fining innocent homeowners millions of dollars for crimes they didn't commit. The Constitution guarantees that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. But in Humboldt County, inspectors have turned that principle on its head and are fining innocent homeowners based on crimes that the county has no proof of and hasn't even bothered to investigate.
And you know where that started? You want to know where that started? All of that in legal principle, all of that fining people for theoretical things that without any proof or anything else and being able to do that. You know where it started? It started in traffic law.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
That was the genesis.
Okay. Hold on. Give me 3 paragraphs. All right, hold it for 3 paragraphs. Like the Thomases, Blue Graham, BLU, Blue Graham knows the pain of Humboldt's abusive abatement program firsthand. Blue, who is also part of the lawsuit, is a backcountry guide and volunteer firefighter. He and his wife own a local restaurant in Shelter Cove, California, which is known for its homemade hot sauces. They were having a hard time getting exotic peppers locally, so Blue decided to build 2 rudimentary greenhouses and started to grow them himself. When the county inspector was reviewing satellite images, he saw Blue's new greenhouse, assumed they had to be for cannabis cultivation, and gave Blue 10 days to remove them, along with a rainwater catchment pond he built for fire safety, or face $10,000 per day fines. Incensed, Blue drove to Eureka to appeal the fine, where county officials insisted they knew he was, quote, not just growing asparagus. With nearly $1 million in fines hanging over his head, Blue waited more than 4 years for a hearing, with the county mysteriously scheduling just before Blue filed his lawsuit. Quote, if the county inspector had asked to swing by, I would have been happy to show him the inside of my greenhouses. I've got nothing to hide.
You know, you do is you grab a pair of those Carolina Reapers and you shove them right in their fucking eyes.
It was just a bunch of peppers, Blue says. But instead, I had to wait years for a hearing. The county eventually gave up on pretending they had proof I grew marijuana, but wouldn't give me a permit for my houses unless I settled. You can rant.
Wow.
Go ahead.
This right here. See the shirt? You see the shirt? If you're watching right now, you see the shirt. I can't imagine why so many people are on my side with this.
If you're listening and not watching, Andrew's face is red.
Andrew's face is about the same shade of red as that fire truck we were talking about earlier.
It wouldn't be.
There's like guns and kids and property. Like those are the 3 that just absolutely will set the three of us off. And this is
we see, and my face wouldn't be this red, but because I'm on a platform where if I say what is in my head, I will get in trouble.
Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969.
my lawyers have advised me not to expand.
My attorney strongly advises me that I not continue. The reality is, right, like, this is the thing. Like, when people go, we'll just wait for your day in court. Don't fight the police.
He waited 4 years for his day in court.
4 years.
And then he still had to settle.
They only scheduled it because he was going to sue them over it finally.
Yes.
That is the only reason they did. This is how these people work. You need to realize that you cannot win against a system where the entire system is stacked like a casino, and even worse than a casino, because casinos at least are expected to be kind of fair, right? Casinos don't need to be corrupt. They don't need to cheat because the games are already stacked against you by the nature of the rules.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't even that. Already the rules are stacked against you, and then the casino is cheating on top of that, so you cannot win. Waiting for your day in court is useless and stupid because it will never go in your favor unless there is absolutely no incentive for the government to find against you.
Yes.
The tiniest incentive, the tiniest minuscule incentive, a single dollar, a single penny in the pocket of the county is enough reason for the court to move against you and find against you no matter what you do. That is how this works. You will always lose. The name of the game is they win.
Who runs the code enforcement for the county?
The county, the government.
Unelected bureaucrats?
Unelected bureaucrats.
Yeah.
Who runs everything, right? Like your public defenders. They're employed by the court. The
what they call them
by the court.
What they call the managerial class.
Right. The bureaucrat, the unelected bureaucrats, right? They're the ones who really run the fucking show. But what I'm saying is like this criminal things. Look, the cops are employed by government, right? They're government employees, they're welfare whores.
Yes.
The
prosecutors, the defense attorneys, the public defenders.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody. Right. Everybody's employed by government, and you are thinking, if you think just wait for your day in court, that if you just wait for a day when you get to have enough of the government employees together in one room, they will all decide against
You know what they should do? They should go meet in New York. where the nukes are going to drop. Okay, give me one paragraph and then I'll let you go. This is from Senior Institute for Justice Senior Attorney Robert Johnson. Quote, in many ways, the process of contesting the county's bogus fines is punishment in and of itself. Humboldt has made it nearly impossible to fight these fines in court. Homeowners have had to wait years just to start the process of fighting back. And the county continues to assess daily fines even while homeowners wait for the hearing. There's no way out unless the county gets paid. We're confident the courts will see this for what it is, an unconstitutional program designed to punish innocent homeowners who have done nothing wrong. So,
well,
yeah, there you go.
I don't see the local courts and whatnot seeing it that way. Maybe if it gets into the federal realm, it might go their route, but they still have to go through the Ninth Circus to get there.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and remember that even if you're pinning your hopes on maybe once it gets to the Supreme Court can choose just not to hear it because it's just going to be too much work.
Or worse, it can give them qualified immunity.
Or it gives them qualified immunity. Or, this is what happens, right? You can't win. The entire deck is stacked against you. You know that it is, and you still are committed. You are so indoctrinated that you are still committed to this idea that if I just fight hard enough and the system completely rigged against me, maybe eventually I'll get a win. No, you will not. History has proven that you won't. Time and time and time and time again. How many examples on this show have we talked about where people go, well, if I can just get my day in court and then lose anyway, because obviously they did, because the court doesn't want them to win. Because it would make the government look bad, or it would make the government actually lose something that the government wants.
No, not only that, but like at this point, with this kind of program, the government is the county government is dependent on these fines for its budgets. So the court,
Exactly.
the prosecutors, the defense attorneys, the public defenders, they have an incentive to make things go the county's way.
Yeah, because what
Yeah.
you're asking by hoping
then
that
they
a
get
public
paid.
defender helps you out is you are hoping that somebody goes against their employer.
Yes. Yeah. Please rule. Please rule against my employer. Yeah.
That's the thing is, right? Like the county depends on these funds to pay its bills. One of those bills is the salary of a public defender.
You know what this county really needs? They need to elect a sheriff like the one in Grant County, Oregon, who arrested the burn bus.
It's funny how elected officials that are elected at a county level and depend on the county for support and are accountable to the local people.
Yep.
Somehow still care about the people. Now, not always,
No.
but they're far more likely in a system that is generally absolutely dictating that everyone is against you. They are far more likely to be less against you than anybody else.
Yeah, it's incredulous. It's absolutely incredulous that this exists, right? I mean, these people were fined 12 or are being fined, are being fined $12,000 per day because the barn was used for something illegal 2 years before they bought the property.
And remember, it's only illegal. Ignore the morality of it. It's only illegal because they didn't pay blood money to the county to be given permission to do the thing.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, that's what it comes down to. Dave in the chat, he mentioned the county next to us only takes cases that made them money, would not touch cases that cost the money, like molestation cases.
Yeah.
Why would they care?
Washington was sitting on like, what was it, 85,000 untested rape kits? Right? There's no money to be made there. Right? And was it like a 17-year backlog or something like that?
Yeah. Because it's about money.
It's not about justice, it's about money.
It's about money. They only care about money. They care about, and most prosecutors don't give a shit about justice. What they care about is building enough of a reputation that when they go into private practice, they can be a big name lawyer and make tons of money off of people, billing them per hour. That's what it's about, right? Like,
and that is why, the message on Andrew's shirt is one that we all need to remember.
There's only 3 boxes that you can stand on to make your voice heard. 3 boxes. And at this point,
there's only
2
one
of
left.
them. Yeah, 2 of them are gone. There is only 1 left.
We're not going to say which one it is, but I'm sure you can figure it out.
Yeah, again in the chat, being charged estimated sales tax by the state based on income that they've already paid taxes on. Yeah, my lawyer has already advised me not to give my opinion on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, right? Like, this says how tyrannical everything is. We can't even tell you what we really think, can we? Because we'll be silenced. Even if the government doesn't come at us, we're still going to get silenced.
Well, and that process, the government is already trying to silence people like you and me, Andrew. Think about how many visits I've had. Think about the mysterious van that shows up at your house randomly. They're already trying to silence us, and we're not even that big of a pain in their ass yet.
That big black SUV went away once I started open carrying when I went to mow my lawn.
The van would show up if I opened carry to cut my lawn.
Probably.
So, all right, let's throw some links out there and let's get the hell out of here.
For all of our links, go check out our link tree.
God, that was just perfect.
I was lame.
And Dave just sent me a photo on Instagram.
No, Andrew. You're more than welcome to do. There it is. You're more than welcome to go off, but remember, if you can't follow along with Andrew, like most people can't because he just rambles, check out the link tree. It's all there.
Yes.
I'm contractually obligated to say things. So
it's linktr.ee/Anarchy Among Friends.
yes. If you want to care for your beard like a Viking, like I do, check out thebeardstruggle.com. Use code InkAnarchist15 to get 15% off of your order, and you get some super cool items out of that for cheaper. So you get their new scents. They have their new platinum scents. There's I think it's the X2 Carbon. You have the beard straightener and comb. That's super awesome. They even have scents for women now, and you can certainly check them out. They have all sorts of cool stuff. Again, it's thebeardstruggle.com, and it's code InkAnarchist15. Make sure that you also check out Reaper Apparel Company. I'm super excited to be affiliated with them. They are an excellent company that has a super great message, and they have their Broken Not Defeated 10-day challenge that I think everybody should take. Everybody, for your own mental health and for your future, you deserve to take it. And you can get some cool stuff. You can get some cool shirts. You can get some cool hoodies and hats and all sorts of neat stuff. Stickers. They don't have any patches. I'm still working with them on that, trying to convince them. But it's Reaper Apparel Company.
The problem with that is that would cut into Dave's, time.
No, well, the problem with that is that I have to spend more money.
Yes, that's really the biggest problem. Reaper brand apparel company is super awesome. Make sure that you're all remembering to always outrun the Reaper, but remember that he is always behind you. Seize the day. It's Reaper Apparel, and you can use the link in the description. Or if you do want to just seek them out, use the code InkAnarchist10 and you get 10% off. But if you use the link,
it's also in our link tree.
Yep, if you use that link, you get 15% off. So use the link instead. Plus, you support me. And who doesn't want to support me? I want you to support me. I know. I like me. So make sure that you check it out. Super awesome. They run periodic sales, all sorts of cool stuff. So make sure you check them out. Make sure that you buy Derica's book. It's called Think for Yourself, Thinking Workbook for Beginners. It's available on Amazon. It's like $10. You can check out the link tree. We have a link to it. It's super awesome. What else we got? Oh, check out Dave at poppinspatches.com. He's also on Etsy if you want to check him out on Etsy, but you should check out poppinspatches.com because he's got patches you can't have
Facebook
on
and
Etsy.
Instagram.
Yes, Facebook, Instagram, super awesome patches. They're very, very high quality. They are absolutely fantastic, and you definitely want to get some of them. He's got glow-in-the-dark ones. He's got the hyper-nostalgia ones, all sorts of 90s cartoons. He's got the tactical tricorn. He's got all sorts of cool stuff, and you definitely want to check it out.
Tactical tricorn V2.
Yes, we're up to the second one now. Oh yeah, there's a ton of them. I'm not wearing pants, so I'm not going to get up and go grab any of my patches off of my panel, but
that's par for the course. Andrew doesn't wear pants most of the time.
Dude, I always wear pants. Like
I'm not.
Yeah, it's the home is where you don't wear pants, okay? But what's important is
if you have to wear pants
surrounded by children.
If you have to wear pants at home, it's not home.
Yeah, it's their
home. It's their home.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, definitely check them out. There's some super, super cool stuff, and you definitely want to get a few of those because, if you're a unrepentant patch whore like I am, you want to spend an enormous, stupid amount of money on rubber things to stick to Velcro.
Well, I have patch binders now.
See, I haven't gotten to that point. I'm not quite there. I still got my giant patch panel.
My panel here. My panel is full.
See, I have the same size panel, and it's not actually mine's I think twice that size, but it is not quite that full because it is twice that size. But it is definitely getting full. Not quite there yet, but yeah, Dave and Poppins Patches, check it out. Make sure that you get some of that cool stuff. Again, like I always bring up, the light colors, the yellow, the whites. If you have PVC patches, you know how they like to fade. They do not on his, so you definitely want to check those out. They're super awesome. The glow in the dark stuff is super cool as well. And if you're a nerd like me, he's got a bunch of nerdy patches, so that's always fun. Check us out on Rumble. Check us out on Odyssey. Chris has the thing with the coffee brand coffee. You want to check that out too, because everybody drinks coffee.
With the coffee.
The thing with the coffee. That's which I call morning.
I call it all day. I mean,
the thing with the coffee. I call that consciousness. without murderous rage.
I drink coffee for your protection, not mine.
Yeah.
Exactly. So make sure you check
and
out.
we just learned that Makita has a 18-volt coffee maker.
Yes,
that was an interesting interesting discussion in the group chat.
Yeah, every one of us was like, I discovered they even have one in khaki green. It's tactical.
Green, yeah.
I'm so excited. Also, we are still an affiliate of RK Spookware. If you need what they sell, you know what they do. I don't need to go into it. Make sure that you check them out if you do that thing that they help support. Because remember that code is free speech and you can't stop the signal. But check them out. There's a link in our link tree. And if you use that link in the link tree, you help support us as well. So make sure you check that out. I'm pretty sure that's everything that we got at this point.
All right. Yes, we're out. Peace.
Peace.